Tim Hardaway made a biggest mistake here. It is like the ultimate insult without raising his voice. That local Miami newspaper interview is about to cost Miami Heat a victory. But before that, here's my channel intro. Maybe Tim Hardaway should have kept his mouth closed. When Michael Jordan picked up a Miami newspaper the morning before the game, he saw something he didn't like. There was a team interview in the paper, and Miami's point guard Tim Hardaway said, "This year the Chicago Bulls are going to take us seriously." Those are fighting words to a guy like Jordan, who is looking for motivation at every point in time in his pro career. Not only Jordan, but the whole team read that piece. MJ's teammates had been with him long enough to know it was a personal challenge. MJ met the challenge in a big way. He planned to use that opportunity to show he was worth every comma in the $30 million he'd earned in the 96-97 season. This was a perfect game for a competitor like MJ on the road. The team won every game until that point. Miami Heat, a team that was lying there waiting for the Bulls. Michael loved playing a team like this, and the Heat seemingly couldn't have asked for a more desirable situation. They were unbeaten like Chicago. Miami is supposed to give Bulls a rough time this season and be a little stronger than the last year's version. Heat's roster changes and off-season determination had them ready to challenge the reigning champions. The stage was set for a physical, playoff caliber contest even in November. There was a playoff intensity right off the bat. Jordan seemed to enjoy ruining Heat coach Pat Riley's day, and the Miami team represented enough a challenge to get the Bulls fired up. But we also have to remember that MJ's toughest opponent might have been boredom in those days, because the Chicago team was so powerful in the 90s. Jordan had 15 points in the first quarter alone. Sometimes you can't come out and play as you want because you get too excited. Michael just wanted to relax and let the game come to him early. Next thing you know, he was in a great rhythm. Michael grabbed the momentum in a split second at the end of the second quarter, stealing an inbound pass from Kurt Thomas with 1 second remaining. The steal came 1 second after Scottie Pippen hit a three-pointer. Jordan promptly added another three-point shot. Miami suddenly trailed by 4. That rapid 6-point swing in the final seconds was devastating, leaving Miami reeling as the scoreboard read 52-48 at the halftime buzzer, having completely shifted the energy of the arena in a single breathless moment. By the time the halftime buzzer sounded, Jordan had 26 points. He was taking advantage of having the slow-footed Sasha Danilovic guarding him. Miami, twice led by 15 points. This was one of the most exciting things in sports, watching a desperate Chicago Bulls team climb back. The Heat might have won the game, but not good enough to play with this team until Jordan retires. Jordan left no doubt he took Hardaway's statement personally. With a little more than 3 minutes left in the third quarter, he helped the Bulls push a 57-53 lead up to 79-63. Jordan scored 12 points in the period, including a nifty over-the-shoulder shot over Alonzo Mourning. Jordan smiled on the play, and after hitting the free throw, he smiled at the crowd as he walked up the court. He had taken control not just of the score, but the entire emotional landscape of the game. Even the home crowd couldn't help but acknowledge the sheer, undeniable brilliance of the performance they were witnessing. After a Ron Harper jump shot, Tim Hardaway stood in the corner of the court cursing. Somebody pounded the ball nearly into the rafters, and Pat Riley was waving for a timeout. Moments later, the Bulls completed the 38-9 run, which started midway through the second quarter. They had a 16-point lead that put them on their heels. The Bulls' relentless surge crushed the Heat's resolve, turning a competitive game into a one-sided showcase of Chicago's superior dynasty. On the sideline, Pat Riley knew his strategic timeout was less about driving up a play and more about trying to stop the bleeding. Sasha Danilovic, Washawn Leonard, Tim Hardaway, no one can stop Michael Jordan right now. Was this 1997 Miami Heat better than 1996? They had better resiliency and they performed better on the road, but they were still not better enough to beat Chicago. In 96, winning a championship after 18 months of return to the league. Jordan's excellence was already admired, but his in-your-face shots weren't. MJ, guarded by 5 Heat players at various times, had a one-handed alley-oop jam, spinning double-pump layup, and numerous turnaround jumpers. Midway through the third quarter, Jordan hit a shot off the backboard over Hardaway and ran down the court laughing. What could you say? Who could stop that man? Dennis Rodman and Kurt Thomas exchanged angry words, and Tim Hardaway shot a few ungrateful glares at Bulls players. Kurt Thomas was trying to be physical with Rodman, hoping Rodman would fly off the handle. It didn't work. Rodman and Thomas were assessed technical fouls. A few more than 4 minutes into the game, Phil Jackson had to bench Dennis Rodman. Rodman thought Pat Riley was trying to make Thomas the next Rodman. At that point, Rodman played mind games with both Riley and Kurt Thomas. He is teaching this boy to do everything he can to keep me off the boards and to frustrate me. But understand something, I'm a little willy cat. I can sneak around and do things, but I will not play that game. I get paid $9 million. I must take all that abuse every night and earn my money. Jordan busted 50 points on the Heat in the Bulls' 106-100 victory. It was the 35th time in his career that Jordan has had 50 or more points at that time. We were faced with a challenge, and it was a fun game on the road against an undefeated team that you played well against in the past. Classic post-game interview MJ, they're sitting back, waiting on you. The scenario was perfect for a competitor. That was ideal for me. He wanted to make a statement. The Heat bench realized as much. He was hitting everything. Chicago Bulls and Miami had long history. These two teams faced off in the playoffs, and in this game they met in the first month of the next season. The last time the Bulls were in Miami, they left the Miami Heat frustrated and annoyed. Not much changed, just Jordan, Pippen, Rodman crushed them in the 1996 April, and here we go again, now in the month of November. The Heat was again frustrated and annoyed and trying to figure out what it could do to run with the Bulls in the 96-97 season. Tim Hardaway was not delirious. He would like to guard Michael Jordan in the sold-out game at the Miami Arena. He probably regretted saying a day earlier that he relished the challenge of trying to stop the best player in the game. Guarding Jordan on the low post was a nightmare assignment for the smaller Tim Hardaway, who could only watch as Jordan deftly backed him down like much larger forward. Jordan sought out every mismatch to inflict maximum damage, and besides he was still stacking from the Bulls' 3-game sweep of Miami in the 96 playoffs. We still have a bitter taste from how everything went down. Them talking to us, showing it to our faces, laughing at us, humiliating us. It didn't feel nice. They're vocal. The referees say they didn't hear it, but they do hear it. They get away with a whole bunch of things. Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman. They have fun doing it. All these questions, will they have the stamina to keep up with younger teams? Will Rodman be too much of a distraction? Will they be hungry? Their 96-97 slogan was Drive for 5. They opened the season with easy back-to-back victories over Boston and Philadelphia. Jordan had the new fragrance cologne and feature film Space Jam. And he was at top of his popularity entering the 97 season. MJ scored 57 points in these 2 games. Did Pippen have off-season ankle surgery? You'd never know. He was averaging 20 points and 7.5 assists. Rodman was his usual bland self. The purple-haired $9 million rebounder had a busy summer marrying himself in a mock wedding and filming a movie with Jean-Claude Van Damme. Phil Jackson, who signed a 1-year contract and in the spring, expected back for 97-98 at that time. The Bulls were the Bulls like everyone expected. Heat players were making X amount of dollars, but they were still the same team Chicago swept in the 96 playoffs. Bulls and the Heat, Chicago was in its class by itself in that comparison. Somebody told Scottie Pippen that Heat players had been hurt when the Chicago players disrespected them during the 96 playoffs, laughing them off the court. If we did, we had a right to. Pippen said, "We won 70 games. They nicked into playoffs. We had a right to be arrogant and we have an ego." Against their strongest opponent, the Bulls showed they are still the team to beat in the Eastern Conference, handling Miami 106-100 at Miami Arena in a physical battle similar to that first-round series. The Bulls were coming back from a 15-point first-half deficit. Michael Jordan and Dennis Rodman picked up where they left off against Miami in April. MJ scored 50 points on an 18 of 33 shooting. Rodman grabbed 22 rebounds and, more important, successfully handled the mind games with Miami's Kurt Thomas and Alonzo Mourning. It turned out the Chicago Bulls had the Heat right where they wanted through the final 4 minutes of the second quarter and the first 4 minutes of the third. They unleashed a 33-6 run and rode to 106-100 victory. And Tim Hardaway learned that they never give a glimpse of motivation to Michael Jordan because MJ lived for it. It was his main purpose to compete, to play the game of basketball. If you were blown away by Jordan's competitive fire in this story, you need to see him in action right after his first retirement. Click here to watch my full deep dive on Michael Jordan's legendary 1995 return, specifically the often forgotten battle in Vancouver. And while you're here, don't forget to hit that like button if you love these stories, and I'll see you in the next deep dive.